Your company knows exactly what your job is worth on the open market. You probably don't. And that gap between what they know and what you know is the single biggest reason most people are underpaid. This isn't about your performance. It's not about your attitude, your degree, or how hard you work. It's about information. Your employer has it. You don't. And the entire salary system is built around that imbalance. Here's what that gap looks like in real life. The person doing the same job as you at a competitor is probably making more money than you are right now. Not because they're more talented, not because they work harder, because they negotiated from a position of knowledge. They knew what the market was paying. You were guessing. Research from Harvard Business Review found that employees typically underestimate their market value by 20 to 30%. On a $70,000 salary, that's $14,000 to $21,000 per year, left on the table every single year because of a knowledge gap. That's not a rounding error. That's a car payment. That's a down payment on a house. That's a year of college tuition for a kid. And this isn't a problem that only affects people early in their careers. The longer you stay at a company without a competing offer, the wider the gap tends to get. Because the market keeps moving, and your employer's raises are calibrated not to match the market, but to keep you from leaving. Those are two very different numbers. But here's the part that makes it worse. That gap doesn't close when you get a raise. Your employer gives you a 3% raise. You feel like progress was made. Meanwhile, the market rate for your job went up 8% that year. You got a raise and fell further behind at the same time. This isn't bad luck. It's a structure. And once you understand how it works, the math starts to explain a lot of things that used to feel confusing. Here's the core mechanism, explained as simply as possible. Your employer subscribes to professional salary benchmarking tools. These are databases, companies like Mercer, Radford, and Culpeper, that collect real compensation data from thousands of businesses across every industry. Your employer pays for access. They know, in real time, what the going rate is for your exact job title, in your exact city, at your exact level of experience. They know what competitors are paying. They know what the 25th, 50th, and 75th percentile looks like for your role. They know all of this before they post a single job listing, before you walk into any salary conversation. You, on the other hand, might check Glassdoor. Glassdoor is a self-reported database. People submit their own salary, when they feel like it, if they feel like it. The data is incomplete, often a year or two out of date, and covers job titles that vary wildly from company to company. The same title, senior analyst, can mean completely different things at different employers. The gap between what your employer knows and what you can find in 20 minutes of online research is enormous. One side has a paid, professional intelligence system, updated with real data from real companies. The other side has crowdsourced guesses from anonymous internet users. That is the information asymmetry, and it sits at the center of almost every salary negotiation that has ever happened in a corporate office. Meet Sophia. She's 29 years old, working as a marketing analyst in Denver, Colorado. She's been at her company for 3 years. By every measure, she's good at her job. She hit every target, led 2 campaigns that outperformed projections, and built a reporting system that the whole team now uses. This year, she finally worked up the nerve to ask for a raise. She spent a weekend doing research. She looked at Glassdoor, LinkedIn Salary, and a few industry forums. She found that marketing analysts in Denver seemed to earn somewhere between $58,000 and $72,000. She was making $64,000. She thought she was around the median, maybe slightly below. So she asked for $70,000, thinking it was a reasonable step up. Her manager paused, said the budget was tight, and they went back and forth. They landed at $67,500. Sophia walked out thinking she'd done okay. She hadn't. What Sophia didn't know was that her company's HR team had used Radford benchmarking data, showing the 50th percentile for her exact role. Same city, same company size, same scope of work, was $76,000. The 75th percentile was $84,000. Sophia had walked into that meeting thinking $70,000 was ambitious. Her employer knew $76,000 was standard. She negotiated against herself and didn't know it. Not because she was weak, not because she was bad at negotiating, because she had incomplete data in a game where the other side had complete data. This isn't just a one-time problem at hire or during a single raise conversation. The information gap compounds over time, and that's where the real money disappears. Here's how. When you're hired, the company sets your starting salary based on their benchmarking data. They know where the market sits. They offer you something at or slightly below that number, because they can. You don't know where the market sits, so you either accept it or negotiate from incomplete information. Whatever number you start at becomes your anchor. Every future raise is calculated as a percentage of that anchor. A 3% raise on a $62,000 salary, you should have started at $72,000, is $1,860 per year. A 3% raise on a correctly set $72,000 salary is $2,160 per year. The gap starts small. After 5 years, you're thousands behind. After 10 years, you're tens of thousands behind. After 20 years, you're looking at the difference in retirement savings. And here's the compounding part that most people miss. Social Security benefits are calculated based on your lifetime earnings history. So is your 401k match, if it's percentage-based. So is your bonus in most companies. Being underpaid isn't just a present-day problem. It is a problem that follows you forward, through every compounded raise, every benefit calculation, every retirement projection. This is what economists call wage anchoring, the phenomenon where your starting salary sets your financial trajectory for years, sometimes for your entire career at a company. And that anchor is set in a negotiation where one side had professional market intelligence and the other side was working from scattered online data and gut instinct. The starting number matters more than most people realize, because everything else is built on top of it. There's a second force making this worse. It's called pay secrecy culture. Most American workplaces operate under an unspoken rule. You don't discuss your salary with coworkers. In many companies, it's actively discouraged, sometimes by managers, sometimes by HR, sometimes just by the atmosphere. Some employers have even tried to include clauses in employment contracts prohibiting salary discussions. Under the National Labor Relations Act, workers have the legal right to discuss their wages, but the culture sticks even when the formal rule doesn't. And that culture serves one very specific purpose. If your coworker makes $12,000 more than you for doing the same job, and you find out, you'll ask why. That question is uncomfortable and expensive for the company. If you never find out, there's no question. The information asymmetry between employer and employee is large enough on its own. Pay secrecy culture makes sure employees can't close that gap by simply talking to each other. A 2019 survey by the Institute for Women's Policy Research found that about half of American workers said that discussing pay was either actively discouraged or explicitly prohibited at their workplace. Half. Think about what that means. In a country where the employer already has access to professional salary databases, half of employees are also blocked from comparing notes with the one group of people who might actually have relevant information: the coworkers sitting next to them. This is not an accident of corporate culture. It is a feature. Here's why this extends far beyond any single person or company. When employees across the board don't know their market value, companies can systematically pay below market, not just for one person, but for thousands. Think about what that means at scale. If a company with 10,000 employees pays the average worker 10% below their actual market rate, and the average salary is $65,000, that's $6,500 per employee per year staying with the company. Across 10,000 employees, that's $65 million per year in labor cost that employees unknowingly subsidize. That number does not show up in any headline. It doesn't appear in any press release. It just shows up as profit margin and eventually as stock price. HR teams are measured on a metric called compa ratio, where each employee's salary sits relative to the midpoint of their pay band. Keeping the workforce at 90 to 95% of midpoint rather than 100% is a documented strategy. It has a name. It is tracked in spreadsheets. It is reviewed in budget meetings. It is presented to executives as a sign of effective cost management. And it works precisely because employees don't have access to the data HR is looking at. Pay transparency laws, now in effect in Colorado, California, New York, and Washington, are beginning to change this. These laws require companies to post salary ranges in job listings. When Colorado's law first took effect, researchers found something that surprised a lot of workers. The salary ranges posted for new hires were often meaningfully higher than what current employees were earning for the same work. Employees who had been with their companies for years found out, for the first time, that someone they were onboarding was being offered more money than them. Workers who had been loyal, who had never thought to ask, who had accepted 3% raises and felt grateful for them, suddenly had a number in front of them that made everything click. Pay transparency didn't just reveal what companies were willing to pay. It revealed how much they had been withholding from the people who stayed and never thought to push back. Here's the part that surprises most people when they see the data. The single biggest salary increase most workers will ever see doesn't come from a performance review. It doesn't come from a promotion within their company. It comes from switching employers. According to data from the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, workers who change jobs see wage growth nearly double that of workers who stay, even when controlling for experience and performance. In recent years, during periods of high labor market competition, job switchers saw wage increases averaging 7 to 8% annually, while job stayers averaged 4 to 5%. That gap compounds just like the anchoring effect does. Over a decade, it determines whether you're comfortable or stretched. The workers who stayed were not less capable. They were just less informed and operating in a culture that told them loyalty was rewarded. It isn't. A job offer from a competitor is the one moment in most workers' careers where both sides of a salary negotiation have access to the same information. You know what the job pays because they told you in the offer letter. Your current employer knows what the market is paying because a competitor just put a number in writing. For one brief window, the information asymmetry collapses. And that's exactly when salaries reset to something approaching market rate. But here's the part worth sitting with. Your current employer could pay you market rate at any time. They know what it is. They have the data. The reason they don't is not ignorance, it's math. Replacing you costs 6 to 12 months of your salary, recruitment fees, lost productivity, onboarding time. Giving you a market rate raise costs far less than that. So they pay you enough to keep you from leaving, which is not the same thing as paying you what you're worth. The incentive only corrects itself when you're already halfway out the door. This is the hidden structure that governs most American salaries. Employers hold professional, real-time market data. Employees are negotiating from incomplete information, anchored to a starting salary set in a moment they were structurally unprepared for, operating inside a culture that discourages the one conversation that might actually help them. Every 3% raise feels like recognition. But if the market moved 6% and you moved 3%, you lost ground, and the raise felt like winning. The workers who break out of this pattern are not always the most talented. They're the ones who found out what they were actually worth before they walked into the room. Information was always the real currency in this negotiation. Your employer just made sure the exchange rate stayed hidden